Obviously, he texted. Okay. Hope everybody's doing good and enjoying this incredible weather we have here in Green Bay. Take any questions you may have.
He's out, and this other guy comes in and a 96-yard touchdown last week. So what does he in that unit do well?
Yeah, and he had some pretty good returns in the preseason. He had a big kickoff return against Kansas City in the preseason. So he's got tremendous speed. He's playing fearless right now. Both of those guys were playing really good going into the last game, and now he has the big return. So when you have a big return like that, it certainly builds a sense of confidence, not only in yourself but in your blockers, in the scheme, and to keep doing that. So it's a challenge for us, certainly a challenge for Daniel, where he puts the ball and how he handles the rush according to what he's going to do with the placement of the ball and then the coverage. So it's a big challenge. They've got a good return game.
I get that Brandon's job is to make kicks, so he did his job. But how hard is it to do what he did, where you're new to a team, you wait a whole game to get to your first kick of the season, late start to a season, and he puts it through the uprights with the game on the line?
Yeah, he spent way too much time thinking about it. I think that was his 312th kick in the National Football League. So I just think it was a matter of those three guys working diligently over the week to get the sense of timing down that they did. And I thought they did a good job, and it really wasn't, when thinking about the kick as much, I always think about the protection. I try to get back as far as I can to see the protection and assume that the rest of it's going to be done well.
He said that he's surprised that teams still call timeouts so soon before his run-up to give him a practice kick. Do you have a philosophy on icing a kicker, or does it change based on circumstance?
We do, and actually I think we've done it a couple times. I think I'm trying to think of what game Coach LaFleur did it, and the guy missed. Some guys like to take that practice kick if they can. Some guys don't. Just a personal preference to the kicker. Sounds like he likes to take it. He did. I know the week before when we tried to ice Arizona kid, he finished the kick as well and then came back. They like to see the flight of the ball or what the wind may be doing with it. So I think it's good in certain situations. We just have to see what each game brings. But I think he was prepared for it as well. We did it in Friday's practice, and it's been done to him a lot. So
Keyshawn explained after the game what happened on his punt return. But for Jaden, what's the coaching point that you give to him after his?
Yeah, don't catch it or score. The other guy hit a 96-yarder, and we got tackled on the 4. So I just think he kind of got lost where he was a little bit, and we did have a wind issue in the game, but I think both of those guys would, in different ways, like to have that play back.
Would a younger kicker typically have reacted poorly to the snap? So McManus has probably seen a million snaps in his whole life. Does he even, being a veteran, do you think they react better to, okay, it's just part of it and I got to still do my job?
I don't know if again, he's had a lot of kicks, so yes, he's seen a lot of different snaps or a lot of different positioning of the hold, that sort of thing. The mulligan was a perfect snap, and the last one was low, and inside. But we do bad ball drills for a reason, and that's where it showed up in the game.
You finally got a chance to see the kickoff, or you're starting to get to see a little bit more of your kickoff return unit. What have you thought, and where do you think you can still get it?
Well, you got to fix the penalty. We have a good return coming out of the box, and got a holding penalty, so it set us back on the 20 from I think the 43. So we'd like to clean that up. The other one I thought we had was a pretty good return. We're still playing with it a little bit. We haven't had as many opportunities as we would like or some other teams have had. So we'll see what this week brings. But we're kind of investigating. We're watching everybody around the league and watching ourselves, and we're putting guys in different positions. One week a guy's playing a tackle. Next week a guy might be playing the guard position. So we're trying to match up with other teams as well. So it's just, I still think for us it's a work in progress. As the weather changes, hopefully we'll get more opportunities for Keyshawn on the back end.
How do you determine when to put Jaden or Keyshawn on a punt return?
I think we've talked about this before. It's just kind of, where we are on the field, just about how they're playing, both of them, what's going on defense. Is it a 3 and out for Keyshawn? Is it, did Jay Reed just have a 9-play drive or a 6-minute play drive, and then all of a sudden we stopped him 3 and out, and it's time he's going to have to go again, and things like that. So it's kind of where we are in the field a little bit and what the field looks like from both of those guys in the game. But, certainly we think they're both capable. Jay Reed coming out of college, we thought was a dynamic returner, and he still is. And certainly, Keyshawn, we've talked about the decision-making process all the time, and here we are talking about it again today, and I know he talked about it. So I think they had a great day today. Today was a return day for us. It was windy again, and so they've had 2 days of catching. They were better than they were last week, so we'll see what happens in the game.
Hey, Rich, what did you see from Daniel on Sunday, and just how critical was he? Some of the field position stuff you guys were able to do, and being able to kind of dictate that a little bit with his punts.
Yeah, we thought he played tremendous, obviously, and guys, some of the guys that don't get credit, the guys that play on the outside, Corey Ballantyne and Bo, they were both outstanding out there, and Zane inside in the coverage. But I think he had a real good feel for the wind and what it was doing. The two big ones he had were into the wind and really changed the field position. So I thought he hit a really clean ball. I thought his drop was cleaned up from a couple of weeks ago, and I thought he played with really quiet feet and a lot of confidence back there. And I thought as the game was going on, he had a really good feel for what he wanted to do, especially into the wind, and was successful doing it. So it's a tremendous game for him. He kept us in the game. He was one of our best defensive players,
Hey, Rich, you're halfway through year 3 here now, and you went through, Mason to Anders to Braden to now Brandon with the kicker. You have a 2-time All-Pro return guy. Your coverage units seem to be pretty good. Where do you think you are in terms of where you envision special teams, big picture being, and where you are now?
Yeah, I think our coverage, you talk about that, we had 3 missed tackles on that dang, kickoff. That's the biggest one we've given up all year. But I don't really look too far behind, and I can promise you, I do not look too far ahead, and I like to kind of stay where my feet are and try to preach the same thing to our players. I think special teams in the National Football League is always a work in progress. Players are constantly changing, in and out. If you just take example for Eric Wilson's one of our best special teams player, and last week it was like a high school game. He ended up playing all that defense and still played 5 phases of special teams and had to play a different position on field goal rushing. He's played normally because Quay went out. And so I think as players come in and out and you lose some veteran players, we've lost TD, we've lost some other guys that, rookies have to step up and play and play well for you. We have a young punter that's really only in his 2nd year. We have a snapper I think is only in his 5th year, although he's played in the Super Bowl, and he is a calming force for us. There was a little bit of a revolving door here at snapper for a while as well. So I think Brian's done a really good job of helping us work on the battery first, snapper, punter, kicker, who also ends up being the holder. And then we've gotten better with some speed players, since I've had a chance to come here, and we've gotten better in coverage, I think, because of it. So I just think special teams in this league, I don't think I've ever come out of a game as a special teams coach where I'm actually happy. It just doesn't happen. I don't think. There's too many things. We had 29 plays in the game and 4 bad ones, and those 4 bad ones cost us about 143 yards of field position. I was fortunate enough to win a Super Bowl, and in the Super Bowl, got a punt block. So, I'm the only guy with a sad face at the party. But I just think sometimes you can get comfortable, and comfort breeds contentment. Contentments breed poor execution, and I don't want to ever live in that world.
So after, like Zane Anderson or Eric, or some of these younger players you've been rotating in on special teams, you see some growth these last 7 or 8 weeks that might get you through the end of the
We think so. Hops made some good plays for us, and Zane's really a young player, and he made a big play last week and an open field tackle, and J.J. Agabari's been playing well for us, and now Mosley made the 53 this year, and he's been dressing every week and making some plays. He had a big tackle 2 weeks ago, and then you see Bullard, right now is making plays for us and playing multiple positions on defense. So we're excited about the young group. Some of the guys that are behind and haven't dressed yet are actually practicing really well and preparing to play. And I'm sure when they get their opportunity to come up and play, we'll be expecting them to play well as well.
I know Matt's won a Super Bowl and he's been that calming guy, but is there any concern there? I mean, he had the high snap.
I have absolutely no concern. You can save the rest of your question.
Why do you have that sort of, at least not quite the right word for, but I'll use it, why you have such a strong belief in?
I see him every day. I see over 70 snaps a day, every day. The guy's been with us for 2 years. So my experience, my wisdom tells me he's a really good player. And I'll stand by that. So hope he's here a long time. Hope he's here a lot longer than me. It'd be good for the Green Bay Packers if he's here a long time.
Hey, Rich, I know you focus on your area, but you know good coaches. I'm curious, what makes a good defensive coordinator in your experience coaching in this league for as long as you have? And when you look at halfway.
You're unbelievable. You're absolutely unbelievable. Ask me something else. Ask me about teams. Keep me in my lane today. I'm worried about a game. Got to go to Jacksonville and play a game. Got to play a little bit better than we played last week. Special teams. No disrespect to the question.
I don't have anything else on special teams.
We good? Thanks. You guys have a great day.
Got some colors. Everybody having a good week? You guys are a sharp dressed group today. All right, what do we got?
So you got the 10th scoring defense in the league, and you're walking down the hall and you bump into Robert Saleh. What were you thinking, or you know, what did you think about that he was all of a sudden on your sideline?
Well, I've talked to Robert probably every week for, I don't know, the last 12 weeks. So this wasn't, I mean, Robert's one of my best friends in this profession. So he's a guy that obviously I coached with in San Francisco, and then I left to go to Ohio State, and we stayed in touch. Probably talked before most games. And then when I got the head job, same thing. And when I got here and starting the season, I mean, he's a good friend. We've talked a lot. So I didn't just bump into him down the hall. I knew he was coming when he was coming, and it's been great to have him here. You know, obviously, you know, kind of disappointing to what happened to him with the Jets. I think he's a great coach, and I thought he could have done a great job with that team this year. Like I said, he's a great friend of mine and a great coach, so there was no bumping into him.
With all of that said, will you go out and get his opinion on things with your defense, or is there a clear line against that?
Well, there's been a line since he's been here. He's been with the offense, but, I mean, like I said, he's my friend, so we've talked all the time, whether it was me asking questions, him asking questions, us giving our thoughts in the off season together. Ultimately, you guys know me by now. I have one thing that is important to me, and that's winning. So if you got a good blitz idea and you think it will work, let me know it. And if it fits in, maybe we'll run it. No, but it's been, a lot of friendly communication and catching up and, making sure he's doing okay. But right now, Stenton would have a better view of what he's added because he's been in with the offense.
I asked Matt this yesterday, and he said absolutely that if it was a different circumstance where it wasn't a defensive coordinator who is good friends with Robert and has history with him, maybe this would be something that he might not have done because he likes what the defense has going on. So how important is it that you have that history with him?
I'm at the point in my career where I'm pretty secure and confident in what we're doing, where we're heading, the staff that we have on defense. So whether it was a really good friend of mine like it is or some guy that I really don't know, I just think that's a way bigger thought and a story than it actually is. I came here to win. I believe in our system. I believe we're getting better. I believe in our staff. I believe in our players. We've gotten better each week, and I think we'll continue to get better. I'm not the type of guy that worries about that stuff. I've been a head coach. I've been a coordinator. I want to win football games, and I want to win a championship. And I'm not going to have anything distract me to do such. So if 3 other guys came in and I didn't know them, let's just get ready for the game and go play and do the best we can. So I don't know. I don't think it's a story. I got a great relationship with our defensive staff and a great relationship with the head coach, a great relationship with the players, and let's go.
Maybe this is a story then.
I'll try to give you a story if you can. I'm just telling,
No, I'm good. It's good. I was talking to Kenny earlier, a bunch of us were, and I'm intrigued by the idea of how much is a defensive coordinator willing to listen to his players and not just do whatever they want, but take their ideas, truly take them under advisement, consider whether or not they're worth including in game plans. And it sounds to me like that is a part of your approach that the guys really respect.
Yeah, but isn't that going back to everything I just said? Like to me, this is not about me. Like, I'm the defensive coordinator. I call the defense, but it's way bigger than me. Like, this is a player's game. We have a whole defensive staff. We have a whole support staff. Like, I don't think I have all the answers because I don't. And I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the room because I'm not. And I've learned a lot from being a head coach and being a coordinator in the past. And if a really good player like Kenny, like if I go to him and say, hey, we're going to run such and such game on 3rd down, and I want you to do this, and I want your aiming point to be this, and do you think you can succeed at a high level doing that? Like, let's practice it. And if he says to me, no, why would I run it? That doesn't make sense to me. And then at the end of the week, I put up the 3rd down inventory that we've run, and I look closely at what worked, and we try to get creative, and we're trying to build as we go. But it's, hey, what do you feel most comfortable running? Because if he feels comfortable, don't you think the success rate's going to be higher? And I'll say, is there any that you guys don't feel comfortable with? Tell me now. And we'll either practice it more or I won't run it. And what you're starting to see now, like even at practice today, there's this confidence and this energy. Like today was our best Thursday practice we've had. Like, and that's not coach speak, because I'm not going to BS you guys. It was. The energy was there. The execution was there. Guys are taking ownership because they're running stuff that they believe and they are good at, and they're getting confident in it, right? And it's like I talk to X all the time. Like, even I'll get on the headsets and we'll have conversations, and it's, you feel this, can I show down here and do this? Yeah, if you got a good feeling to beat on it, yeah. Now, there's sometimes I have to say no because it's like, whoa, that doesn't fit in with what we're doing, and we might give up a big play. So it's not just like, hey, what do we want to do? Go do it. It's like me listening, observing, and then making a final decision on what we can do best to win the football game.
I get it. I've done this long enough to know that not every coach does that.
Yeah,
You've coached long enough to know that not every coach does that.
I think it goes back to I'm here for one reason and one reason only. We're a top 10 defense in scoring. Awesome. That means we're winning, right? It's not, well, look at that. I don't care. And I think that's why I'm in a good point in my career right now. And it's like the staff. Like, I'll give you a great example, because this is why I love our defensive staff. So Sean Duggan sits next to me in the booth, right? So it's me, him, and we're constantly going through the iPad. He sat next to me when I was the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. He was with me at BC. We kind of like, he's starting to think alike, right? So he's looking through the pictures, and he looked at one set, and he's like, Coach, you see how far, I don't want to get too detailed. You see how far this guy's doing this? I think if we do this and this, we'll get him. So we quickly figured out how to get that done. We got it, and we sacked him on that play. Like, that was Sean Duggan coming up with that idea. Like, call him whatever position you want. And it wasn't like, no, I'm not running. No, it's like, yeah, that's a damn good idea. And it fits what we do. And we were able to figure out how to communicate to the players. And we got like a 7-yard loss on a sack for it. So, like, we're going to keep working together so we can win.
Wilson hadn't played middle linebacker in a game for you guys last year or this year. What made you go with him, and what do you think he gave you?
What made us go with him was veteran guy, communication, green dot, loud crowd. He's been through games before. He's worn the green dot in the past, so the experience of doing that. He's a guy in practice that when we put him in, I do communicate with when Quay's out, so I felt comfortable doing that. And he knows what he's doing. We can trust him. Like, he's the ultimate guy that we trust. And I thought he did an awesome job. Not easy. I mean, really not easy. And it's not just the production that he had, the leadership, the communication, getting guys lined up. It was really cool to see.
Do you want to figure a way to get him maybe into that spot in some of your packages more? You've got 4 linebackers. A lot of times there's only 2 of them out there on the field. Do you want to keep mixing those packages up, or does that dilute practice stuff too much?
No, I want to keep mixing it up. I think based on, what they're going to come out in and how we match them up, I mean, he deserves to have a role just like he has. Last week they were in a lot of 12 personnel, so they had big people on the field, so he was going to play more regardless. But he's certainly a guy that can do a lot of different things. And I think you saw us take one more step in creativity last week, and I think you'll continue to see it build the more our guys know and understand, and that's where we're starting to get to.
Press Taylor was really complimentary today about just what you guys have done on the defensive line, just the amount of rotation. I think he even said it was like every play it seems like there's a new wave of guys coming after it. The chicken or the egg there, is that with the depth that you have, or is that just philosophically something that you've preferred in terms of being able to mix that type of personnel?
I mean, I think it's both. Philosophically, I think a lot of coaches would like to have fresh D linemen because the same O linemen are in for every play. And if you can just kind of overwhelm them and wear them out, I think when you get to late in the games, it's an advantage to the defense, because imagine your left tackle or right tackle or your guards and centers are in for 65 snaps, but your defensive ends have each played. You have 4 guys who have played between 28 and 45 plays. We're going to be a lot fresher at the end of the game when 2 minutes is the most important part, or it's a key third down in the game. Now, I think we're in a situation where we have a lot of guys where we can do it and we trust them, because you can't just say we're just going to rotate no matter what. You got to trust the guys, know what they're doing, and they're good enough to play. So we've been fortunate to do that.
I don't know if this was Xavier's sack, but he was saying that it has been a play that's only been in kind of the works the past couple weeks. I'm curious, where'd the idea come from to bring him to the line of scrimmage, especially when the idea came, it was in the middle of this interception streak over the deep middle, right? And then why was Sunday the right time to use that?
We've had him down on the line of scrimmage before. It's just something that we do and have various different coverages out of it. We just felt, based on what I saw earlier in the game, out of that alignment and how they were protecting it, we felt like he would come free. So as soon as that next third down happened, that was written down and I was ready to call it.
2 games since he's gotten his hands on a pass, which is normal for every other DB and not normal for him. How's he still continue to impact the game even when it's not the splashy interception?
Have you seen a ball thrown anywhere near him? That's a huge impact. I mean, if you go back the last 2 games, have you really seen the ball been thrown down the field against us? No. So I sent him a text the other night and said, don't get bored. I mean that, because he's affecting the game in so many other ways. In the run defense, he comes up and makes tackles. I have him more involved in pressures. His coverage stuff has been outstanding. But he's affected the game because they're not throwing the ball deep anymore. Like, that's affecting the game as much as anybody. And then I told him that's like a sign of ultimate respect. When you've been around guys like Revis and some really good players and the ball stops going to them, I mean, just don't get bored because it's going to go up again and you got to be ready for it, and he will be.
I wish I had full minutes for this question, but what is your halftime like? 'Cause you don't get 12 minutes. Like, so for you,
There's
what is
no
halftime?
there is no halftime in the NFL. Like, you're adjusting after every single series, and you're just going and adjusting, and you're going and adjusting. I mean, I think it's one of the benefits that I'm actually in the booth, because in between each series, I'm on the iPad, I'm taking notes. Like, half the time I wish I was watching Matt because we're throwing touchdowns and all these crazy plays that I see the next day. But it's looking at the iPad, taking notes. How can we set them up on the next third down? What do we need to do different on first and second down? How are they going to attack us? What's coming up? And it's just constant communication and writing, and then all of a sudden you're up again. I mean, by the time you get to halftime, I mean, we're in a golf cart, okay? So the golf cart drops us off at the elevator. We sprint more than I sprint all week because then I got to sprint into the locker room. Yeah, I mean, you might have to use the bathroom because it's been a long half, so there goes another period of time. I mean, I hate to get this descriptive. Then you're meeting with you're sitting in a room talking to the coaches who you've been on the headsets talking to the whole game, and then I go up, I draw some stuff on the board, give them one message, and bang, you're up. It's the fastest thing in the world. But there is no, like, we got down to halftime, and that's the whole entire game. Like, that's what you're doing in between every single series. So I hope that answers your question. Halftime is just, I mean, I get a good workout in halftime running up and down. I mean, seriously, it keeps my blood flowing and changes scenery.
2 or 3 minutes with the players, is that really all you get, you think?
Maximum. Yeah, it's crazy. Like the first preseason game, college halftime's longer. So the first preseason game, I was like really getting detailed with the staff and just trying to get it. And they're like, Coach, we got to go back up. I was like, I didn't even see the players yet, you know? So it's fast, like really fast.
Dumb question. So on these replacement fire zones, which is obviously what Matt told us they were called, do you guys still consider those a blitz, even when you just rush 4 on those?
Do you consider them a blitz?
I don't know. I don't know football as well as you do. That's what I'm asking. What should I consider them?
We're only rushing 4,
Right.
so they're really not a blitz.
Okay.
It might look like a blitz. So what did you call them?
Replacement fire zones.
Yeah, I call them like simulated pressures. So what is that? So technically I'm using the word pressure, so maybe that it is a pressure, but we're simulating. We're making it look like a pressure, but it's not a pressure. So that's essentially all we're doing. We're sending 4 with one unconventional player, but we're only rushing 4, right? So technically we're not pressuring, we're simulating pressure. That's not a dumb question though, because, I mean, I get that a lot.
What do you think the effectiveness of those kinds of rushes are for you guys? When, like the McKinney one, I think you had one with Cooper in the Rams game.
In some games they're very successful. In other games I mean, I can get into pretty good detail with you here, but sometimes you're running those for other reasons. You're running them to keep a running back in protection, right? So he blocks that guy he's supposed to blitz, so then what happens? They don't get the running back out on a route, right? So now you're covering less people. Or, man, we can keep the tight end and the running back in by only rushing 4. Now we can cover less people. It's great when you get like a free runner and it works like that. I mean, we wish we could do that all the time, but that's not always going to happen when you're just rushing 4. So there's some games you might see them, there's some games you might not see them. It just depends. It just depends on how we feel we have to attack somebody. Does that make sense?
So what is it, Jeff, if your guy engages, you know, the 5th guy engages and then he drops out, you know, engages with the lineman for a second?
It's still a simulated pressure because we're only bringing 4. Yeah, anytime we bring over, I mean, there's 5-man pressures, which a lot of times are fire zones, right? And then there's 6-man pressures, which a lot of times are man pressures. And then your 0 pressures, you're bringing everybody but covering your 4 eligibles, so you're bringing 7 or 8. Does that make sense? So think about it like numbers. If we're in a 4-down front and we're only rushing 4, we're not really pressuring. We could be simulating, but we're rushing 4. A lot of times when you see 5, a lot of that people will run like 3 under 3 deep. And anytime you start ramping it up, you got to start playing more man.
Most of these analysis things, you know, say if you're rushing 5, that's a blitz, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. No disrespect to any of those. That's just how my mind works.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if, you know, sometimes you do have that guy go and engage and he's actually taking up a blocker, but then he pulls out, you know, so.
Or
it's
maybe he's just wrong. Let me know who you see doing it, and I'll tell you if he's right or wrong. How about that one? All right? You guys good? All right, thanks, guys.
What's the challenge with that run game of theirs? I know Bigsy's had a couple big weeks in a row.
Yeah. Oh, with their run game? I don't know. I haven't watched their run game. I'm talking about their defense. Yeah, they're in the top 10 against the run. They're very physical inside. They do a good job compressing, the edges and keeping the ball inside. So their interior guys do a good job. Their linebackers are very aggressive and physical. I think they make a lot of plays on the ball, just filling gaps and things like that. So they're pretty physical up front. Yeah, you're good.
This last game, there was a bigger discrepancy in snap counts between Sean Ryan and Jordan Morgan. Is that just a product of Ryan's play? Is it easing Morgan better?
Yeah, I think Sean definitely is playing better than him right now. I think we're still obviously going to work Jordan in. So it'll kind of be a fluid situation as far as how many snaps he gets per game.
What's the fine line with Jordan and the interceptions? Because obviously you're right up there among the league leaders in big plays, but then.
Yeah, I mean, one interception is too many. Anytime you're giving the ball to the defense, that's not good. That's not a winning formula. We've been able to overcome them, especially last game. But yeah, you don't never want to turn the ball over. So we just got to learn from those mistakes, learn from those decisions, and just keep improving. The one thing I do like, that Jordan's doing is he's not letting those bad plays turn into more bad plays in terms of just affecting his decision making. He's still aggressive. He's still reading defenses and doing a good job there, and he's making some pretty impressive throws. So we just got to keep learning and keep improving every week, and hopefully those mistakes go away.
Is there a teaching point on, the one he got hit by Daniil Hunter right in the ribs, as he's getting ready to throw it, or as he's throwing it? Is there a teaching point there, or is that just a circumstance and it happened?
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, he saw the play, kind of got hit from the side. If you think you're going to get hit, maybe don't throw it, or just try and find a check down. But again, a lot of that, you talk about protecting the football. That's a whole offense. And that goes for offensive linemen, pass protecting, receivers catching the ball, running the right routes, covering downfield in case the ball comes out, a fumble or anything like that. So that's how everyone on offense can really do a better job protecting the ball is, just making sure the quarterback's not getting hit.
Hey, Steno, you guys love to say it's a good problem to have, but that doesn't change sometimes that there is a problem. When you have so many good wide receivers, you got a guy like Watson, who's a pretty darn good football player. He's got 14 targets.
Yeah.
Do you need I understand it has to be organic and go through the progression of the offense, but do you need your big play guy to get the ball more?
Yeah, we do. Simple as that, yeah.
So how do you do that?
Last game, it was kind of a weird game just because we had 5 3-and-outs. We had 11 total possessions, 5 3-and-outs, and then the other 2 possessions, we had 2 interceptions. So it's like we, didn't really get to do a whole lot. There was 4 drives basically where we had actual drives. So yeah, I mean, you definitely want Christian Watson touching the ball. He is a playmaker. He's shown, to make some pretty big plays. So, which is a matter of getting the plays for him in the game plan called. The one, that we threw an interception on, we were trying to get the ball to him. On that one, it just didn't work out. So, yeah, it's just one of those games for him that we didn't get him the ball very much. but he is a guy that we certainly want him to touch the ball more for sure.
If they get their linebacker back, Oluwakan,
Uh-huh.
what's kind of the challenge with him? 'Cause he had tackles the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, he's a very productive guy. He does a really good job, again, in the run game, and then also in pass protection. He's a good a dropper and stuff like that, does a good job reading the eyes of the quarterback. So he's a pretty solid all-around linebacker, and I think that'll help the middle of their defense, not only in the run game, but in pass coverage as well.
Adam, what did it mean to finally get Josh's receiving touchdown after all this year?
It was awesome. Yeah, it was great. We've been talking about it for a couple weeks, so it was a good thing to finally get that off our shoulders. I'm sure Josh felt some relief there. But no, that was a special time, a special moment. It was pretty cool to see.
Do you call a screen there because they figure it, because you think they won't think you'll do it back-to-back plays?
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where Jordan kind of read it out, saw the coverage, and made the call. So it was one of those things that, like, he had a couple of different options on the play depending on what he saw the defense do. And obviously, we liked the screen versus that coverage, so he made a good decision to get the ball to Josh on that one.
So you made that call at the line.
Well, he made the decision based on what the defense was showing with the play. But, yeah, I think we knew in that situation what coverage we were thinking they were going to be in, so we liked the screen on that one, for that one.
Was that a true screen? Because it almost looked like a Texas route too.
Yeah, it's a screen, and then we had an option to throw the ball to the field depending on, again, the coverage, or you could throw a fade to Romeo, different options on that. It's a cool play.
I think it was Ryan, right, who was out in front.
Yes.
That's gotta be a challenge to not get downfield.
Yeah, there's definitely a timing element to that where you got to make sure, as you release that you're not downfield before the quarterback throws the ball. There's certainly a lot of timing. Earlier in the year, we messed that up a couple times. We had a few, especially one game. So, yeah.
Steno, was that hard to, like, O'Connell, when the Vikings came in here, it was pretty clear they wanted to get Aaron Jones a touchdown, right? And your defense stopped them. Is it hard when you're trying to get some specific guy an
Sometimes it
opportunity?
is, yeah. Sometimes when you try and force it, it doesn't always work out. But, yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's about it. Sometimes it is.
Hey, what do you think Romeo's
I mean,
giving you?
if you had the play to get a guy a touchdown, why wouldn't you just call it every play and you'd be good to go?
What do you think Romeo's given you in these two games, and how much has it helped to kind of put all that stuff in the rear view, that he's come in and made the plays he's done and been productive?
Well, with Romeo, we've seen that with him all camp, and I think part of the thing that was led up to his frustration was just not getting those results on the field. And one thing, just being patient, trusting your abilities, trusting the offense, trusting Jordan, just trusting everybody. We know it's going to come. And you obviously saw the last 2 weeks, his route running ability, his strong hands, his playmaking, all that stuff. He's a very talented guy, and I'm really glad that we've all put that behind us and we can move forward because, as you saw, we're a lot better team with him than without him for sure.
With Beck gone, are you gonna probably lean on Fitzgerald to help you out? And
Yep.
and have you gotten a better feel for
Yep.
what he?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about him. He very athletic guy. He's a big kid, but he's athletic, really good hands. Does a good job in the run game, very intelligent. Tight ends have one of the biggest jobs in our offense, just obviously knowing the pass game, but also being very integral in the run game as well. So he's done a really good job, and yeah, I'm excited to see him go out there and play.
Play with that size in the run game?
Mhm.
I mean, does he look
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see him out there because you see him on film, but just out there watching him, it'll be good.
I asked this because maybe the guy who usually sits over there, his employer wrote this, but it was a critical piece of what Josh Jacobs has meant to the offense, just with some of the analytical numbers. But I don't know if you care about the analytical numbers or not, but what has Josh added, and has he been what you're hoping that he'd be?
Yeah, for sure. Josh is a very consistent piece of the offense as far as, just getting him the ball. And if you see as games go on, just how much better his production gets throughout the game. And I think he's a physical kind of runner. He's very instinctive, you know, really good vision, and he does a good job breaking tackles. And I think that run style, as a game goes on, wears on defenses. So, yeah, he's everything I thought we were getting. He's a very big piece of our offense for sure.
Anything else? All right.
All right, thanks. See you.